Hello, I am Abby Bocanegra, sharing evidences in this Week 12 showcase for professional projects. My journey began with filling out a volunteer packet for Wasatch Behavioral Health. I needed to have this submitted to headquarters before being approved as a volunteer. Once approved, I set up a Zoom call with the family clinic director. I realized there is no shortage of volunteer opportunities in my county through ongoing prevention events. I will take you through my projects from the youngest group to the oldest groups that I worked with. The first opportunity was to volunteer during the annual Safe Kids Fair. At my station, the kids learned how to have a selfie summer by getting enough sun, exercise, light, fun, interaction, and healthy eating. This is an image of the water bottle sticker they got to take home. Another volunteer opportunity for me was to spend 3 days a week in the after-school program with Wasatch Kids for elementary age students. At the end of each session, the kids got out mats and laid on the floor for guided mindfulness. Let's practice now.
Breathe normally. When you see a thought bubble come into Bertie Brain's mind, then do a deep breath to blow it away. Remember, when we do deep breaths, just your belly should be moving, not your shoulders. Continue breathing normally and listen to the music. We shouldn't hear your breath because this means you're breathing too quickly. Well done.
I loved what the narrator said at the end, which is to enjoy your mind. I think it would be great if we could all learn to do that. All Star Kids is a relatively new program that kids ages 9 through 11 can sign up for at the rec center. One day we came up with standards in 3 columns: terrific, okay, and not okay. They also wanted a positive consequence as well as a negative one, which I thought was pretty neat. Other topics that we covered were the past, present, and future. In reference to learning about the past, the kids got a kick out of watching this clip from Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Right. Read it, Greg. All of it.
Sometimes I sit and wonder about stuff I do not know, like what the Earth was like 100 years ago. Even right on dinosaurs, flowers even grow, spiders rule the earth, or deserts filled with snow. There were no books or humans, so how were we to know what life was like 100 years ago?
Appropriately, we are now moving on to middle school, where I volunteered in the 7th grade Positive Action program. In addition to drug bingo, I led them in the Marshmallow Challenge. I asked the students what life lessons they could parallel to this activity. Our discussion answers included: it is worth it to take your time, slow and steady wins the race, don't get overly confident, and use all available resources. At the high school, I volunteered in the health and driver's ed classes teaching about the dangers of vaping. The presentation took the length of the class, so I will share just one part that I found interesting. As you can see here, the blue represents maturing brain areas, which means the brain is developing decision-making skills. At this point, your impulsive system has developed before strong cognition is fully functional. Nicotine, marijuana, and other drug affects that brain development. It wires your brain for addiction. Just as a side note, I had the opportunity to serve at both of my kids' schools, and I even ran into my son one day in the hall. I'm sure he was thrilled to have me there. I then had the opportunity to work with families when I volunteered during Locals Night at the Heber Valley Railroad with Wasatch Behavioral Health. I ran the Angry Bear booth. At my station, we talked about anger management with a demonstration. I am wearing the shirt that each of us wore at the various booths. I shook a can of soda and I asked what would happen if I opened it. This is like when we're angry, and it would spray everywhere. We talked about STAR strategies to cooling down: stop, think, ask, and reduce anger. I was showing that when we take a break, we can calm the situation. I then opened the soda and the kids were shocked that it didn't spray everywhere. It was a surprise to me to be invited to the Utah Prevention Coalition in Bryce Canyon. I enjoyed learning from others through conferences and interactive workshops over 2 days. One of the speakers talked about fundraising. Something that stood out to me was ask for money, get advice. Ask for advice, get money. Touché. I've never been to Bryce, and it was such a beautiful experience. I was on a high for days. Lastly, I was asked to do some clerical work by updating the county resource page. I now know all the resources available in my county. The yellow highlighted parts I added need to be translated into Spanish. I have a lot of swag from my service hours. These squishy brains were given out at nearly every event, which read "Healthy Brains, No Underage Drinking, Bright Futures, Parents Empowered." Similarly, my shirt reads, 9 to 13 are the magic numbers to start talking to your kids about underage drinking. Many of these opportunities took me out of my comfort zone, but I learned and grew so much. Thank you for allowing me to share these evidences of my project with you.